Picture this. It's peak summer, and despite having longer summer days, the excitement for the season has passed, and now you just can't wait for fall to start. Sounds familiar? Well, you're not alone. Summer slumps are more common than you think, and they tend to sneak up on you even if you are one of the most motivated people out there. Maybe it's the heat, or perhaps it's the constant parade of hot girl summer posts making you question your choices. Here's the thing. While everyone else seems to be living their best life on some tropical beach or crossing off their ambitious summer bucket list, it's totally normal to feel a bit stuck. But what if I told you that this summer could be different? Not in a book an impulsive flight to Europe way, unless that's your thing and you have the money for it, but in a way that actually works for you. One thing we are not doing this summer is saying how bored we are and slipping into a slump. Before continuing this episode, I should probably introduce myself. Hi, my name is Elijah, but you can call me Lay. Welcome back to A Little Atypical, where we dive into all things wellness, personal development, and lifestyle topics. If you're enjoying the show and these conversations, I'd love it if you take a quick second to leave a 5-star review and drop a comment. And don't forget to hit the follow button to never miss an episode. Your support means the world to me, and it helps many other amazing people find our little community. In today's episode, we are diving deep into why we fall into summer slumps, and more importantly, how to climb out of them without needing a trust fund or a viral TikTok moment. We're talking real strategies for real people who want to make their summer meaningful, even if that means redefining what a great summer looks like. So grab your beverage of choice, a journal, and find somewhere comfortable, and let's talk about turning this potential summer slump into your summer comeback story. So getting into it, I listed about 5 reasons. Of course, there is probably so much more reasons why we fall into a summer slump. But starting off with reason 1, the first thing I named was lack of direction and or following what people are doing, even though it's not truly what you want. If you've been following our podcast, you'll remember last week's episode deep dived into mid-year resets. These evaluations, typically done between May and early June, are crucial for understanding your current life satisfaction and fulfillment levels. It's the perfect way to kick off our monthly theme and set the stage for avoiding the dreaded summer slumps. Something interesting about boredom, it's not always about having nothing to do. Often it's about going through motions without being truly present in our experiences. If you haven't checked out last week's episode, I highly recommend giving it a listen after this one, as it provides valuable strategies for tackling this exact issue. The point I wanted to emphasize is blindly following other people's summer plans can actually be counterproductive, even if it seems like a way to have direction. When we let others dictate our seasonal activities, we lose our sense of purpose. Think of it this way: decisions create purpose, and purpose brings us satisfaction. And I've learned that on my journey of overcoming decision avoidance. This topic is so important that I'm dedicating our next episode to it. Trust me, you won't want to miss out, so make sure to come back to hang out with me. But anyways, the key to avoiding this specific type of summer slump is twofold. First, get clear on your personal vision for the season. And second, learn to be inspired by others without feeling pressured to copy their path. It's okay to see someone's amazing beach vacation on Instagram and think, that's wonderful for them. But your next thought should be, but would that make me happy this summer, when you start to compare yourself? Which brings me to my next reason for the summer slump, the comparison trap from social media. In February, we did an entire series on the digital world because social media comparison is something that has been an ongoing struggle. And the reality is that it's completely unrealistic to reject the digital world, as for many people, it has provenly created so many opportunities for success. I don't just mean for influencers, but in general, people people who are trying to be creatives, or simply people getting better connected to people who work in their ideal roles. If you're struggling with comparison to influencers or getting too invested in strangers' lives online, definitely check out episodes 44 through 46. I packed those with strategies for that, but today I want to talk about something a little closer to home. Comparing ourselves to people we actually know. Comparison hits different when it's people from your actual life, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're from a small town, you know? It could be people if you went to like a small high school where everyone knew everyone, if you were in a smaller college program, or even in just like a local community. I saw someone say they didn't feel insecurity online until they went on LinkedIn, and that was so real, because the thing about insecurity, it always centers around what we are trying to do / be. Think about it. If you're insecure about a certain aspect of your appearance, you'll notice that aspect most in other people. If you're in the process of looking for a job that aligns with what you went to school for, you'll notice how many people that went to school with you or that was in your major that had a smoother time with their career moves. And if you're a lonely person, you will notice who has strong support systems, whether it's friends, family, or both. The reason why these comparisons sting extra hard from your immediate environment, I believe it is because when we get so fixated from being from the same place yet having such different experiences, same school, same major, same hometown, but maybe end up in different paths. It is the reason people hate icebreakers in new environments, the reason we hate the idea of sharing aspects of our lives, because we worry so much about the optics and judge our own efforts. We get so caught up in measuring ourselves against others that we forget we're all writing our own stories. This reason causes a summer slump by demotivating ourselves, because we think whatever we do and or try won't measure up, even though us ourselves are the ones secretly using other people's aspects as a tool measurement of our own. The solution is to create our own vibe and measurements for the summer, because honestly, the quickest way to slide into a summer slump is trying to live someone else's quote-unquote highlight reel. It is so important to me that I am going to go more in depth with this topic in another episode very soon. So trust me, you don't want to miss out. But anyways, moving on from creating our own standards, let's talk about another major contributor to the summer slump that might challenge some common assumptions. It's all about structure and routines. So the third reason I listed was lack of routine if work schedule changes during summer months / keeping the same routine. So for many of us, summer represents this idealized version of complete freedom and the time to be spontaneous. While that sounds amazing in theory, the reality can actually contribute to our summer slumps in ways we don't expect. Let me tell you something about summer routines that I learned the hard way. When I was a kid, basically, my summers were completely unstructured. I would go from waking up around 6 a.m. for school to sleeping until noon, after staying up all night, texting my internet friend and writing stories together. Fun? Absolutely. Healthy? Not so much. Without any real structure, except for occasional karate classes my mom would sign me up for, my days were kind of just floated by, you know? And since I spent my summers in a different state from where I went to school from, I had this weird gap when all of my friends, who were also my neighbors, went back to school while I was still on break until September. Looking back, I can see how that lack of structure messed with everything from my sleep to my eating habits. Things changed once I got older and I got my first summer job in high school. Suddenly I had a routine again, and honestly, it made me feel so much better. However, later in life, I've also learned that keeping the exact same routine year-round isn't the answer either. It's just another way to get stuck in a rut. So as an adult, I found my sweet spot, which I call my self-nurture time. I explained all this in January's episode 2, but basically it's flexible but structured. I do the basics, hygiene, a light breakfast because waiting until later in the morning spikes my blood sugar like crazy, and some movement and a post-workout shower. For the summer specifically, I've been switching things up already. Instead of my usual workout routine, I do light movement until the sun comes out and then I get sunlight exposure. Right now, I'm keeping it simple, just hanging out somewhere near the home, but I plan on working up to morning walks once I'm more settled into this new pattern. I've also started taking walks again after dinner. The point is, without a consistent routine, it's easy to fall into aimless days that kind of blur together, you know? You might find yourself staying up too late, sleeping in too long, and feeling disconnected from any sense of purpose. This lack of structure can lead to decreased motivation, irregular sleep patterns, and a general feeling of being stuck. The goal isn't to pack your schedule or become this like hyper productivity machine or whatever. It's about finding a rhythm that makes you feel good. Maybe your mornings are best spent on health, creativity, learning, or just some solid self-care. The point is to have enough structure to feel grounded, but have enough flexibility to actually enjoy your summer. Now, transitioning from talking about daily routines, let's actually address another factor that can throw off your rhythm: heat. Okay? So the next thing I wrote was excessive heat making it uncomfortable to do regular activities. Picture this, it's 3 p.m., you're staring at your laptop, trying to write or finish your project, but the heat has turned your brain to mush. Even simple decisions like what to have for dinner feels overwhelming. The summer heat doesn't just affect our physical comfort, it can make basic mental tasks feel like solving complex puzzles. This discomfort leads to mental fatigue because high temperatures can impact our cognitive function. We might find ourselves procrastinating on important decisions, feeling mentally foggy, even trying to do something like read a book becomes a challenge. And yes, I know logically we can just turn on the AC and this isn't like such the biggest problem, but the reality is that, and I'm going to talk about this in the next one, that things are getting more expensive and people are going to try to save in whatever way they could, you know? And that may include just dealing with the heat and not wanting to raise the electric bill any higher. So with that being said, the solution isn't to push through when your brain feels like it's overheated. Instead, try adapting your schedule to tackle mentally demanding tasks and important decisions during cooler hours like early mornings. Also consider creating a cool, comfortable workspace if you could near AC or fan. And if not, maybe you can take the time to go out somewhere that allows it for free, like getting your work done at a library or something. If you don't have to be physically on camera for your job or whatever you're doing. Most importantly, be patient with yourself and recognize it's normal for the heat to affect your mental clarity. And maybe summer is a time when you focus on lighter tasks, especially during the peak heat hours, and save the heavy thinking and decision making when it's more manageable for you. Now, for the final reason I kind of hinted at, but reason 5, financial constraints limiting participating in summer activities. Summer often comes with an unspoken pressure to spend, whether it's vacation, festival tickets, new summer wardrobes, endless social activities. And when your bank account doesn't align with these expectations, it's easy to feel left out and fall into a slump. This financial pressure can lead to either overspending, causing stress later on, or completely withdrawing from social activities, leading to isolation. Both scenarios can contribute to feeling stuck or left behind during what's supposed to be an enjoyable season. The key to avoiding this type of slump is to reframe what a great summer looks like. Focus on free or low-cost alternatives that still capture the essence of summer. Local parks, community events, home movie nights with friends, DIY spas, or starting a summer reading challenge can all create memorable experiences without breaking the bank. The most meaningful memories come from the company we keep and the creativity we bring to our activities, not the amount we spend. As we wrap up this discussion on summer slumps, let's acknowledge something important. Feeling down during the summer months is completely valid and more common than you might think. While society loves to portray summer as this magical season of endless joy and adventure, the reality is that it comes with its own unique set of challenges. Whether you're dealing with social media comparison, struggling with routines, battling the heat, or managing money constraints, remember that it's okay not to be living your best summer life according to someone else's definition. Your journey is your own, and authentic happiness comes from honoring your personal needs and circumstances. The key takeaway I want to leave you with is this. Avoiding a summer slump isn't about forcing yourself to be happy or filling every moment with activities. It's about creating a sustainable, personally meaningful approach to the season that works for you. So that is all for today, and we can jump into our card pull using the Animal Spirit deck. Remember, if this is usually when you click off, thank you for listening. And regardless of if this section is not your thing, if you do enjoy the rest of my content, be sure to come back, follow the podcast so it makes it easier to be notified when something new is out. Anyways, the card we got for this episode was the Oyster. Patient, secret keeper, hiding inner treasures. The focus and determination of the oyster is unmatched. Anything an oyster personality puts their mind to, they achieve with grace and charm. The only problem is, oyster types often take their inner gifts for granted. They become shy or doubtful, and this can lead to withdrawing or protecting their deepest desires and life's work. When the oyster card appears, it's important to reveal your inner treasures. What is it you've been hesitant to share? The world is waiting to see. When in balance, feels blessed, generous, masterful. When out of balance, reluctant, gripping, clams up. To bring into balance, share something. The oyster card beautifully mirrors our discussion about summer slumps and personal growth, because like an oyster that appears closed off but contains, a precious pearl, many of us hide our potential due to comparison and self-doubt. This card's message about sharing aligns perfectly with our earlier points about authentic summer experiences rather than withdrawing or conforming to other people's expectations. We're encouraged to open up and share our unique gifts. This connects to finding our own rhythm and reminds us that overcoming a summer slump often means embracing our authentic selves instead of getting stuck in comparison or being stuck in rigid routines. As for what I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for it getting warmer because that means I can kind of put into practice what I wrote about in my blog. I did a blog post about nervous system regulation because that, along with resting, has been a kind of a big focus for me. So I guess I'm happy it's getting warmer so I can practice those things more. But yeah, that's it. That's it, my friends. Thank you for making it to the end and for tuning into today's episode of A Little Atypical. If you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who might need to hear this message. Remember to view the description box where you can find important links such as the one to my website where there is so much more content. So until next time, Have a good day, evening, or night, and stay authentically atypical. Okay, bye.